We are at the Australian Council on Smoking and Health, and tonight I'm glad to host one of the key members or key staff member of this organization who is going to tell us much in regards to this. But before we start, let's get to know whom we are speaking to tonight.
Thank you, Moses. My name is Maurice Swanson. I'm the Chief Executive of the Australian Council on Smoking and Health. I've in fact been a member of the organisation since 1983 in an honorary capacity, but now I'm the Chief Executive.
Great, Chief Executive. So I believe I'm talking to the right person who's going to give me much of the information that I'm looking for. And thank you for taking your time to be with us in this interview. Well, as I told you earlier that the key topic that is going on right now is vaping. And just to start off, vaping with your organization, where does your organization come in as far as vaping is concerned?
Well, we're very opposed to making e-cigarettes and other vaping products more freely available in Australia. We're opposed for three main reasons. First of all, there's insufficient evidence to say that vaping is safe. There's in fact accumulating evidence now that inhaling the aerosol created by vaping products can affect the lungs, serious effects on the lungs, on the cardiovascular system, including arteries, and possibly also the heart. The second reason is that they originally were marketed as an effective way for people to give up smoking. And the evidence on that is also insufficient. There have been a small number of clinical trials that do suggest that vaping might be helpful for some people in small numbers. But when you look at cohort studies where you follow people over at least a year or longer, what you find is that people who use e-cigarettes to try and give up smoking, there's very few of them that quit long term, and many of them are actually held in smoking. So there might be an effect where more people are held in smoking than actually get out of smoking. And then the third concern that we have is that there's accumulating evidence, particularly from the US and Canada, that vaping acts as an on-ramp for children to take up smoking. So in the US and Canada, we've seen epidemic explosions in the use of vaping by high school students, very significant increases, so that in the US, about 28% of high school students are now regularly vaping. And surveys recently published from Canada show that for the first time in 30 years, the prevalence of smoking, or the rate of smoking among teenagers, has increased. And that's where the concern is around on-ramping.
So you're telling me that it is illegal, vaping is illegal in Australia?
Well, the act of vaping is not illegal. What's illegal in most states of Australia, in fact all states of Australia, is to sell products that contain nicotine through vaping products. They can sell vaping products that don't contain nicotine. So if you go into a vape shop in one of the eastern states of Australia, you'll see most of the products labelled non-nicotine. But surveys have showed that up to 70% of those products that are labelled non-nicotine actually contain nicotine. So that in itself is misleading. A survey done recently in WA, which had a much smaller sample, so only 10 samples of e-liquid were purchased randomly from vape shops and tested. Most of those labelled non-nicotine also contained nicotine, because it's illegal to sell nicotine. It's a Schedule 7 poison under Australia's Poisons Act. But what's unique to WA is that you can't sell any product that resembles a tobacco product, and that's a result of a Supreme Court decision in Western Australia. So you can't purchase complete vaping products in WA because that's illegal.
Thank you so much for what you're doing as a council. And maybe just before we wind up our interview, your parting shot in regards to vaping.
Well,
Strong message that you would want to pass to anyone listening to this program.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, anyone who's considering taking up vaping is really committing themselves to act like a guinea pig, because we just don't know what these products will do in the long term. All of the evidence that's accumulated thus far, and there's a new scientific paper published almost every week around the world, suggests that these products are harmful to your health, particularly the health of your lungs and your cardiovascular system. So I'd strongly urge people to be prudent and not to in any way start vaping.
Thank you so much for taking your time to be with us and to educate us more on vaping. Thank you so much.